Eli's face burned as the louder tore through the cafeteria like a storm. "Egg boy! Egg boy!" The words echoed in his ears as he sank lower into his seat, clutching his tray like a shield. It had started with a joke, someone calling him clumsy, and somehow it had exploded into this public humiliation. Half the school was watching, phones raised, capturing every moment of his shame. He wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor, and never come back. For the first time in weeks, the anger he'd been bottling up threatened to swallow him whole. He imagined standing up and letting the rage explode. Even that thought left him trembling. Eli had been in foster care for most of his life, bouncing from home to home, never feeling truly safe. His current foster father, Mr. Tanaka, was different, patient, strong in ways that weren't about muscles or toughness but about character. Mr. Tanaka had noticed Eli's shrinking posture, the haunted look in his eyes, and had quietly offered him a way out of the darkness. "Strength isn't just about fighting back, Eli," he'd said one evening after dinner. "It's about controlling the part of yourself that wants to break. Come train with me." It started simply. Mornings before school, Eli would meet Mr. Tanaka in the small dojo in their garage. The air smelled of old wood and sweat, comforting in its own strange way. "Focus," Mr. Tanaka said, demonstrating a punch, a stance, a block. At first, Eli could barely keep his balance. His arms shook, his legs wobbled, and his mind screamed at him to quit. But each night he returned, and each night he learned a little more about himself. He discovered patience, precision, and most importantly, that strength grew from persistence, not from lashing out. School remained a battlefield. The taunts didn't stop, the whispers didn't fade. But slowly, Eli noticed a change in himself. He held his head higher, his back straighter. When a bully shoved him in the hallway, the old instinct to snap flared. But he remembered Mr. Tanaka's words, "Control your energy, don't let it control you." Eli stepped aside, fluid and calm, his movements precise, avoiding confrontation without humiliation. The bully stumbled past, surprised. But Eli didn't even flinch. The turning point came during the annual school martial arts showcase. Eli had been practicing in secret for months, refining his techniques, building both physical and mental strength. Mr. Tanaka had finally encouraged him to enter, promising only that he'd do his best. The day of the showcase, Eli walked into the gym, his heart hammering. The same students who had laughed at him were there, sneering, waiting to see if he'd fail. But Eli was no longer the scared, timid kid they had mocked. As he stepped onto the mat, he remembered every early morning, every ache in his muscles, every whispered encouragement from Mr. Tanaka. He bowed, focused, and let the years of pent-up fear and anger transform into disciplined motion. Every block, every strike, every precise step told a story of struggle, persistence, and resilience. The audience watched, captivated, not just by his skill, but by the quiet confidence radiating from him. When he finished, the gym erupted into applause. Some students cheered, others stared in disbelief, and a few even came forward, awkwardly offering apologies for the years of ridicule. Eli's eyes found Mr. Tanaka in the crowd, and he gave a small, victorious smile. For the first time, he felt seen, not for what he lacked, but for what he had become. The humiliation that once defined him was no longer a chain. It had been the spark that ignited his transformation. Eli understood now that strength was more than fighting. It was rising every time life knocked you down, turning shame into motivation and fear into courage. That night, as Eli lay in bed, he felt a calm he had never known. He was still fostered, still a kid who sometimes felt lost in the world. But he was no longer weak. He had found something greater, a sense of self, a purpose, and a proof that even the smallest, most mocked person could rise and become extraordinary. Eli would never forget the echoes of "Egg Boy." But now they served as a reminder, even in the depths of humiliation, the human spirit could transform pain into power. And for the first time in his life, Eli felt unstoppable, not because he could fight anyone, but because he had learned to conquer himself.